Okay, let's be real. For any small business owner, taxes can feel like this impossible puzzle, right? But what if a piece of tech could just come along and click all those pieces into place? Well, today, we're going to look at a solution that's trying to do exactly that for the real engine of Sri Lanka's economy, its small and medium businesses. And to really get why this matters, you just have to look at this one number, small and medium enterprises, or SMEs. Look, they're not just a part of Sri Lanka's economy. In a lot of ways, they are the economy. I mean, think about it. They're responsible for a staggering half of the entire national output. That's huge. They're the engine of growth. They're where the jobs come from. But here's the thing. That economic backbone, well, it's under a ton of pressure. It's actually kind of cracking. These businesses, which are so vital, are caught in what you could call a compliance crisis. They're just struggling to get through this maze of financial rules. And believe me, this isn't just a small headache. It's a massive roadblock standing in the way of their success.
So let's paint a picture of the daily grind for a lot of these SME owners. It's just chaos. You're juggling spreadsheets, paper invoices, random documents. The bookkeeping is all over the place, which means a ton of manual work. And of course, that leads to stress and a much higher risk of making mistakes that can lead to some really costly penalties. So what do? A lot of them have to lean on expensive external accountants, and that just chews up the little budget they have.
And the result? It's this vicious cycle. Business owners are just trapped, constantly racing against deadlines. All their energy is getting sucked up by paperwork instead of being poured into the things that actually matter. You know, coming up with new ideas, helping customers, and actually growing the business. The system, even if it doesn't mean to, ends up holding back the very people who are supposed to be pushing the economy forward.
Okay, but what if there was a way to just break that cycle? What if there was a digital lifeline for these businesses? Well, that's exactly the promise behind a brand new platform called Finmelo. So what is Finmelo exactly? The easiest way to think about it is like a control panel for your business's money. It's a platform built specifically to take all those messy, complicated processes and just make them simple. The whole mission here is to put the power back where it belongs, in the hands of the business owner, so they can handle their own taxes and finances with, total confidence.
Okay, so this diagram really gives us the big picture. Look at this. Finmelo is basically acting as the central hub in the cloud. Over on the left, you've got the SME owners, and they're just feeding their data in. Then that information flows right into the Finmelo ecosystem. It gets processed, and then, and this is the cool part, it's shared seamlessly with their accountant and even with the tax authorities, the Inland Revenue Department over on the right. It literally takes a completely broken, fragmented process and turns it into one smooth, streamlined flow.
Okay, that's the what. But how does it all actually work in practice? I mean, how do you really get from, say, a shoebox full of receipts to a perfectly filed tax return? Let's walk through the workflow. The whole process is designed to be super straightforward. Okay, step one, you sync your financial data. You can either punch it in yourself or, and this is a game changer, just link your existing accounting software like QuickBooks or Xero. Step two, the platform automatically applies the correct Sri Lankan tax rules and figures out exactly what you owe. No more guesswork. Step three, it generates all the official ready-to-go documents. And finally, step four, you just give everything a quick review to make sure it looks right and then hit submit. That's it. It's a four-step journey from a mess of data to done.
But here's the thing. Finmelo is way more than just a fancy calculator. It's basically a smart assistant for your business. It's got this smart tax advisor bot that's like having your own personal finance guru, analyzing your data and spotting savings you probably would have missed. There's a built-in tax calendar and automated reminders, which means you'll never have that heart-stopping, oh no, I forgot the deadline moment again. And the dashboard gives you this really clear, real-time health check on your business finances. Everything you need, all in one place.
So a great idea is one thing, right? But it's just the start. What makes Finmelo so compelling is that there's a really solid plan behind it. This isn't just a sketch on a napkin. The research shows a clear blueprint for success, and it's all built on a deep understanding of the market and a really strategic vision for where this is going.
And this comparison chart tells a really interesting story. You've got other tools out there, for sure. Lanka has some AI advice, Simple Books does basic bookkeeping. But they're all just offering one piece of the puzzle. If you look at the chart, Finmelo is the only one with all those green check marks. It's designed to give you that complete end-to-end workflow. It's that unique mix of automatic calculations, syncing with your other software, and smart advice that really makes it stand out. It's filling a huge gap in the market.
And this right here proves it's not just a cool tech project, it's a real thought-out business.
This is the business model canvas, and it lays the whole strategy out. Let's just look at a couple of things. See the key partners box? It's not just other tech companies. They're partnering with the Inland Revenue Department itself, which is absolutely crucial for this to work. And now look at the value proposition. Reduced manual effort and errors. That's hitting the exact pain points we were talking about earlier. And they know exactly who their customers are, not just the business owners, but their accountants too. It's a really solid, comprehensive plan.
Okay, so let's step back from the tech and the business plans for a second. What does all of this actually mean in the real world? Well, the true impact here, the real story, is about empowering the very people who are driving Sri Lanka's economy.
Yeah, let's not forget this number. 50%. 50% of the entire national output. So when you build a tool that saves time, cuts down on stress, and gets rid of errors for such a massive, vital chunk of the economy, well, the positive ripple effects could be absolutely enormous.
So here's the bottom line. The ultimate goal of Finmelo is to completely change the relationship that business owners have with their finances. The idea is to transform tax compliance from something they absolutely dread, the stressful, complicated chore, into a smooth, guided, and maybe even empowering experience. And when you do that, you free them up to do what they're actually good at: innovating, taking care of customers, and growing their business.
And that really leaves us with a pretty powerful question to chew on. We always think the biggest barrier for small businesses is getting money, right? Capital. But what if the real obstacle, the real thing holding them back, is just complexity? What if the key to unlocking a country's entire economic potential isn't just about more funding, but about making things radically simpler? It's a really compelling idea to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in for this explainer.